This is the GainLab Bishop and it is exactly what I needed for this YouTube channel. Let me explain. So the Bishop is, as GainLab calls it, an all-tube channel strip, and it basically consists of two components, a preamp and an optical compressor. And this makes it great for a lot of different applications. For instance, recording the audio for a YouTube channel, a podcast, or vocal recording. And this is how it works and sounds. The Bishop has several inputs. On the front we have an instrument and a mic input through the same connector. And on the back we have a mic and line input. The Bishop automatically chooses which mic input to use. If you plug in a microphone in the front, it will disconnect the mic input on the back. It has a few housekeeping features, for instance a -20 dB pad and a phase inversion. And on the right side we also have a high pass filter, which we'll set to 60 Hz for now. There's a drive knob on here, which is for the instrument input. It doesn't do anything on the mic or line input. And of course we have a big gain knob. And there are basically two levels of gain to choose from. The low level, which is the inner ring, which ranges from 6 dB to 40 dB, or the high level, which ranges from 26 dB to 60 dB. When switching to the high level, which I'm going to do now, the sound of the preamp will be different because you're literally enabling a different preamp circuitry. So keep that in mind. In this case, I like the low setting. So we're going to use that for the rest of the demo. Now on the right side is our compressor, which is an optical compressor, and it is a very interesting compressor because it has two threshold settings. So we basically have a first threshold, as you can see, gain reduction 1, first threshold, and second threshold. And these are not fully independent from each other. What I've noticed is that if I reduce the threshold on the first one, that the second one also stops compressing. I'm not fully sure what is going on here, but it's basically a two-stage compressor, but it takes a little bit of time and effort to set it up correctly. Another setting that's on here is the character setting, which controls the knee and ratio. So on soft we have a very soft ratio setting and a very soft knee. On medium we have as you can see, a way higher ratio and a tougher knee. And on hard we basically have limiting with a hard knee. Now let's put it back to soft. We can also control the time constant on here, and the time constant controls the attack and release. If we set it on auto, it will basically be dependent on the amount of gain reduction that is going on. If we set it to fastest, we of course have a fast attack, fast release. And if we set it to slowest, you can see that it's reacting completely different. And actually, it takes me a lot of effort to enable the second gain reduction. Now we also have output attenuation for whenever the signal is too loud. When using a bit of compression and correct gain settings, you probably won't need the output attenuation unless you're really going to drive this thing. Another thing to notice, by the way, is that the VU meter, and it says it here very small, says that 0 VU is 8 dBu, which is a bit higher than I'm used to actually, but you have to keep the rest of your signal path in mind when looking at the VU meter. Now the last feature on here is the dynamic air setting. If I bypass the compressor, it will basically act as a shelf slash little bit of saturation in order to create that nice air. If I enable the compressor, this will also become dynamic as well. Now, if GainLab lets me keep this unit in exchange for money or a lot of cookies, I am going to implement this thing in two different ways in my studio. Let's put this thing away. The first way is as a vocal recording channel strip for my voice on YouTube. That way I'm already creating a way more done sound at the beginning, and I don't have to fiddle around with compressors anymore in the editing. Workflow tweaks like this make things a lot easier and basically also lowers the bar for making a video a little bit. And I've got a whole video planned on how I'm going to implement this using these things, Cranbourne cast modules. If you want to see that, make sure to like this video or comment or subscribe, whatever. You don't have to. The second way I'm going to use the Bishop is as an optical compressor in my mixing setup. Because it has an extra line input and a line output, it is pretty easy to switch between these two functionalities on this thing. Now the Bishop at this moment sells for 2,684 euros, which is 2,450 US dollars. It always depends on where you're located and local taxes and that kind of stuff, what the exact price would be. But I have to say that this is well, it's a bargain, basically. If you look closely at what you're getting for that price, two different types of very good tube preamp and a very interesting optical compressor. I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer, actually. Now, I want to give a huge thanks to GainLab Audio for sending me the demo unit. I am a big fan of GainLab gear. You can see it over here. I have the Dictator and the Empress, and I'm using them both on a daily basis. And I really love them. That's also the reason why they are so close to my hands. The Dictator recently had a tube replacement, which I could do myself, and the support from GainLab was amazing. I just hope that they didn't do it just because I'm a YouTuber. If they would give everybody the type of support that I had, then it's just a great company. What I want to say is that this review was not sponsored. I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say and no money exchanged hands at all. If this unit is going to stay in the studio, it is because I really like it. And on a side note, everything that's in my studio is here because I like it and I use it. There have actually been a lot of units sent to me that weren't requested back by manufacturers that are not in this room anymore because I don't want to use them. So I just quickly want to put that out here. All the products that you see in my room are products that I really stand behind. Now I'm going to put a direct link to GainLab in the description down below where you can read more about the Bishop, and on that website you can also find where to buy them. A lot of dealers actually have the possibility for you to check out a unit before you're going to buy it, so make sure to check if your local dealer has such an option. That way you can really test a unit before you make a purchasing decision. Now, last thing I want to say that if you like my videos and want to support me, you can do that by becoming a channel member. The join button somewhere down below. And as a channel member, you get access to some exclusive content, of which I'll link a playlist over here. Another way to support me is by simply watching more videos. So make sure to be subscribed, also somewhere down below, and check out this interesting video. Thanks a lot for watching. Keep pushing, and bye bye.